is A Rude Awakening. I'm Sabrina Jacobs. On today's show, I'll spend our time together speaking to host and executive producer of Politics Done Right, Mr. Egberto Willies. He's from our sister station, KPFT, in Houston, Texas. We'll be discussing what the Comey hearings have really revealed, as well as the Intercept's blatant disregard for whistleblower reality winners' sacrifice. Stay tuned. Egberto Willies is a political activist, blogger, and fellow programmer at our sister station, KPFT, out of Houston, Texas. Mr. Willies was one of the Pacifica commentators featured last week during the Comey hearings, during our network-wide broadcast. And he's on the line now to fill us in on some of the topics he didn't get to fit in during that commentary. We'll also talk about the reality winner case, the latest whistleblower whose cover was blown by the very folks she trusted to get the truth out about the 2016 Russian cyber attack, The Intercept. Mr. Egberto Willies, welcome to A Rude Awakening. Now, the name of your show is called Politics Done Right, and I'm hoping we'll be able to get it right during this little commentary here on A Rude Awakening. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, Sabrina, it's a pleasure to be with you. I know you have a great show, so thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you.
Yes, I do a show called Politics Done Right, and it's on KPFT 90.1 FM in Houston, and it occurs on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Central. It's my pleasure to be with you, and yes, we had a whole lot to speak about right after the Comey hearings, and I kind of took a slightly different view than most people. Sometimes I tend to be contrarian.
Well, let's talk about it. Tell us how you were feeling and your thoughts on it. Let's go in depth. Go ahead.
Well, what I find is what I'm finding right now is we have sort of group think. And I don't want to say that in a negative. We so detest, we so hate Donald Trump. We so want him to be gone. We so know that he is an evil, a cancer on the country, that we are all focused on everything that is necessary to get rid of this guy. Now, we all believe that everything we hear in the media, everything we hear elsewhere, is somehow proven that Donald Trump is obstructing justice with what he's doing. Most of the commentators are saying that. Most people are saying that. Most lawyers are saying that. But when you have a contrarian like Dershowitz, the lawyer most of us know about, who says quite presently that what Trump is doing, yes, is bad. What Trump is doing, however, is not necessarily illegal. And I think we should give that some credence. But even above and beyond that, illegalities done by Trump would still fall under the purview of his own executive. So it is believed that constitutionally, if you really wanted this person removed, the only option to do so is through impeachment. Do you think that is going to occur in this Republican Congress and Republican Senate? We're also in the Senate, 2/3 majority is needed to do that. It is very unlikely. So I think for all practical purposes, a lot of our effort and attention that we're given to the Russia issue, while it needs to be done, is somewhat, in my humble opinion, not placed appropriately. There are a lot of other things we need to cover that's being swept under the rug, but that is going to be a lot more important and would likely lead us to not win that blue landslide we're expecting, or we tend to believe is going to occur in November 2018.
Interesting. Now, with Trump, it's it's kind of a toss-up. It's kind of a toss-up. I was going to say a throw-up. That too, but...
that too.
It's kind of a toss-up because, okay, we go ahead and, the folks that don't want Trump in office, they go ahead and they, push to have him, impeached, and like we were speaking off, Mike, you made a very astute observation that impeachment is a political move. Now, we go ahead and we fight for that. Folks in the Congress fight for that, and they push for it. What we would have left is Pence. I mean, wow. Vice President Pence. I mean, and that's something that's even scarier, I think. Just like when we were talking off mic, Vice President Pence is, he's a career politician. And he's a career conservative politician, and he's got some really, really sick views, right up there with Jefferson Beauregard Sessions. So, where would that put the country if Trump was ends up being impeached, and he ends up becoming president?
Man, that is a great observation, Sabrina. I mean, that is such a great observation that many of us on the left, especially the very left progressives, fail to realize.
Thank you.
Unless we had some sort of a double impeachment, which is unlikely, in as much as Pence was also involved with Russia, as we
right, but he's kept his nose clean through this whole thing.
Right.
We haven't been hearing anything about Pence, impeachment, Pence, Russia, Pence, Ambassador Skizliak. I hope I'm saying his last name right. You know what I mean? Skiliak or whatever. Anyway, but you know what I'm saying. So where would that put things as far as him being next in line to ruin the country, finish ruining the country?
Yes, I think it would be worse. And the reason I think it would be worse is that we all know that Trump is pretty inept. He's not very smart. He doesn't know politics. So in effect, he kind of runs things by the guts, and some things will get past him, some things wouldn't. But Pence is astute, and he's not only astute, he's a smart guy. Conservative doesn't mean you're not smart. Conservative simply means, and a lot of times, we are willing to hurt you with a smile. But as it turns out, and I'm saying that for the conservative politicians, not my conservative friends, for those of you who are listening, but I mean that. But anyhow, I think he's very, very smart, and his smartness will allow Paul Ryan to effect all the Ayn Randian policies that they want to pass. I mean, it's funny, Ayn Rand could not even live through her own policies near her death where she was on social. But they want to live the Ayn Randian dream that never was or never could be. And I think that Paul Ryan has the policies necessary to get there. He wants to believe that in his American healthcare, AHCA, that somehow taking $800 and something billion out of Medicaid and several $100 billion more out of some other program that helped the poor will somehow make healthcare better. I have a bridge in Brooklyn to sell you. It is sad. It is sad, however, that we find a difficulty to explain to the American people that the policies these guys put out make no sense with a primary education. It's obvious, but one of the reasons is that we don't have the throughput. That's why Pacifica and all these different Pacifica stations are so important. And why you should be given to Pacifica as much as you can to keep them alive is because we cannot get the information out there to people in a manner that they can absorb, as well as the right is funded to do so. So I think it's incumbent on us with the limited resources that we have to show exactly what you're saying, Sabrina. Pence is not better. We need to not only get that information out in general, but to our own people on the left, because our people on the left are making that same mistake in not understanding that, in fact, this is a problem.
He is a problem. He is a bigger problem than Trump. And I think it was set up that way, too. You know what I'm saying? I really, really believe that it was set up. This is all by design. It's all by design. We got a few, let's see here, we got about 3 minutes or so left in this particular segment. What can we do on the left? What can we do in 3 minutes or less? Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right down at KPFT, KPFT.org. What can we do? What can the left do to educate ourselves, to keep ourselves educated, and to keep this galvanized movement together and cohesive?
Well, I can tell you where we start. We start exactly doing what you are doing right now. Because what you are doing right now is you're opening the eyes by having this program of many people here on the left. You have given me the opportunity to put out my point of view, a view that seems to be in some respects similar to yours. We have a voice, and in using our voice to tell folks the alternative story to what they're hearing on mainstream media presents the opportunity for our folks on the left to be galvanized not only for vis-a-vis getting rid of Trump, but looking at how to do this responsibly. Should it be done after this term, or should we really be driving for impeachment based on what comes before? And I think we've spoken before that we should be careful because, remember, an impeachment puts Pence, as you said before, in command of the country, but it also gives him a possibility of not only holding office for 2 terms, but 2 terms plus 2 years or a little bit more, 10 years. Why? Because the Constitution only holds that the president can be elected twice. But if he comes on in the middle of the previous presidency, he gets all of that time. So it's incumbent on us to know all these features so that we can let our folks know or be strategic in the things that they do.
Oh, most definitely. And for all you House of Cards watchers out there, it's the latest season is on Netflix, and it goes into all of that. It makes it easier to digest all of these political maneuverings that we're seeing from the right, if you would, the GOP. And we're going to take a little bit of a music break here, and we're going to be back with Egberto Willies. Egberto Willies is the host and executive producer of Politics Done Right down at KPFT, our sister station in Houston, KPFT.org. And we're going to talk next about Reality Winner and her case and how the heck did we even find out about her in the first place? It was the job of The Intercept to keep her contribution quiet, and they did anything but. Stay tuned. And we're back. We're back. Love that lovely tune. We're back with Egberto Willies. Egberto Willies, thank you so much for being on A Rude Awakening and imparting your knowledge and opinions on what's happening with the left and what's happening with the right and how we're clashing. But I want to draw our attention to or direct our attention to Reality Winner's case. Folks that don't know, Reality Winner is the latest whistleblower, NSA contractor, who leaked information regarding the 2016 cyber attack by Russia. She basically sent this information to a reporter who is still unnamed, to a reporter at The Intercept, and the Intercept reporter subsequently released her name to the NSA, and we don't know who this guy is. They went on ahead and arrested her, and she's looking at 10 years. Egberto, what are your thoughts on this? I've never been a big reader of The Intercept. It's my understanding that it's owned, and the seed money was given to them by a gentleman by the name of Omidyar. He's the owner of PayPal. And they have been doing very well. I mean, it's a slick website. I don't really like the typeface font, but they're doing really well. I mean, they got a billionaire backing them. What are do you know anything about as far as his ties to the government, to the NSA? The Intercept is known as a whistleblower website where folks can leak their information and have it posted. It's more of a legitimate version of WikiLeaks. What are your thoughts on the Reality Winner case?
Yes, I was never a fan of The Intercept. And first of all, one of the reasons I'm not a fan is if you take a look at the people that write if you take a look at the people on the site, it's almost a homogeneous site of people that do not represent what America really is. That's number one. So that pretty much was the first turn off for me. Secondly, I am not a fan of Jeremy Scahill specifically because I think some of the reporting style is more of I decide what the outcome is going to be and I try to fit things the way they should be. Again, that is just my opinion. That said, I think with regards to Reality and them leaking or sending her name to the NSA, I don't have enough information about that. I'm not sure if they simply sent the information to the NSA or they were required by law to provide that. That I don't know. But that said, it is, I think, journalistic malpractice to not have aided somebody who is a whistleblower to so easily be captured. Yes, as a software developer myself, I understand all the mistakes that Reality made when she got that document. You know, there are certain things she should have done a bit differently that she didn't. Okay?
Right. But at the same time, I got to interrupt you on this one. The people at The Intercept, I mean, that's what they do. You know, yes. I mean, they were started, and you know, the idea came to them, you know, after Laura Poitras and Glenn Greenwald, who are also founders of The Intercept, were able to get the information from Snowden. So they know how. They know how to protect their sources, and that is first and foremost when you're a journalist and you're receiving sensitive information. It's to protect your source. How could they not? I mean, how could they even find themselves being presented with any type of obligation to reveal who this young woman is? I mean, she's 25 years old. She's looking, you know, her life is ruined.
I mean, you are so right. Now, you just told me that you think Cahill is the person who donated the monies to get The Intercept started. Is that correct?
No. It was the gentleman by the name of Omidyar. I don't know what his first name is, but he's the owner of PayPal.
Oh, the current owner. Okay, because
right.
what I was going to say is I thought you were saying it was the previous owner of PayPal, this guy named Steele, because Steele is a Donald Trump supporter and actually was supposed to. Yeah, so I mean, there are some issues there that would concern me. I don't know the specifics, so we won't put fallacies like the right into the ethos.
Sure, of course not. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That said, they should have protected this young woman. Now, a lot of folks are saying that what she released would have been released anyway. I don't buy it. I think that from Senor Barack Obama, a middle of the road Democrat, to the right-wing Republicans, I think all of them want us to believe that our electoral system, the machines that we use, which are made by several companies that are dubious at best, somehow they would want us to believe that our system is infallible. Our elections are right. Our elections occur correctly, unlike those banana republics that they like to talk about, places like Panama, where I'm from, which elections run pretty smoothly. But they would like you to believe that that's what's occurring. And what I think Reality did was change the discussion The discussion was first saying that, yes, they try to influence our election. It occurred on Facebook and emails and all that sort of thing. What she released says, okay, but we're now concerned that these guys may have actually have the ability to access our infrastructure, which means possibility of changing votes. And I think that changed the discussion.
Okay. And to have that, all puns intended, to have that reality hit us on that particular front is definitely something that needs to be taken into consideration. We, the people, need to be taking that into consideration. And I really can't let go of the fact that, you know, this woman's life was practically ruined when it didn't have to be ruined, right. You know, and the reporter who outed her is running around, running free, you know, with no repercussions. I mean, there is a lot of shame. There is a lot of shame that should be placed on The Intercept, you know, and for their malfeasance as journalists. I mean, it's just, it really, really sickens me. And I hope somebody blows the whistle on them, you know, because this was completely unnecessary. What happened needed to happen. Just like you said, you know, the fact that she released this information has changed, you know, the narrative. It has changed the discourse of what we're hearing in regards to outside infiltration of our so-called democratic system. You know, I mean, to be able to, you know, this, assuming that all of this is correct and everything that we're assuming from what she's released, as far as Russia is concerned, this has emboldened them to do it even more. And then you look at the Comey hearings and what Comey had to say in regards to that. It's going to keep happening. There are plans for it to keep happening. You know, what can we do as folks on the left who run the risk, you know, who are around sensitive information like that? I mean, it's a loaded question, I know. But what can we do on the left to keep the momentum going? Because I know that this has put a lot of fear in folks in regards to getting the truth out.
I think we need to use other resources. Right now, we have a tendency to think an MSNBC is somehow our friend. But then again, they have Zeta Van Susteren now and Miss Kelly on their show, and they're moving in any direction other than to the left. We have a CNN out there that is trying their best to appease a Donald Trump. You have Fox News that is nothing but the propaganda engine for Donald Trump. We have the right-wing blogs and the right-wing radio shows that are there to support Donald Trump. Who do we really have to support the left? Nothing on major television is there. What do we really have to support the left? We have networks like Pacifica. We have independent bloggers that are trustworthy, that have enough market or market and social penetration to put out that information that eventually will get captured by these charlatans disguising themselves as the media. So what I would say to those leakers is find resources like us, the Pacifica networks, like bloggers, myself as an independent blogger as well, and many others, the Daily Coast. These are organizations that are really there standing up for progressive values and for what we believe in. And if you want to leak things, leak them there. Forget about the mainstream media because they're all in cahoots with the government. I shouldn't say the government because we, the people, are of the government, but with the portion of the government that is still trying to maintain the status quo and control us all.
Yeah, the status quo, I tell you, I mean, there is just this last-ditch effort to hang on to what used to be. And just this complete disillusion of what, again, what reality is for us here on the front lines, living our lives, trying to pay our bills, trying to do the right thing, trying to, you know, do the best for our friends and family in the immediate environment that we live in. We could go on and on for days Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up. I definitely want to let folks know about your website. Folks can go to egbertowillies.com. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. EGBERTOWILLIES.com.
All right. And also politicsdoneright.org.
Our politicsdoneright.com as well.
All right, politicsdoneright.com. You can also read various publications from Mr. Egberto Willies in the Daily Cause, and that's dailycause.org. Wonderful .com as well. Okay, wonderful leftist publication that's been around for a number of years. Get the truth and don't just trust. Don't just trust blindly. You got to do your homework, You got to do your homework so you don't get caught up in a mess. And Mr. Egberto Willies, is there anything else that you would like to say? We got about 2 minutes or so. What would you like to add?
Well, first of all, I just want to say for those of us on the left, one thing I'd like to remind us is that we are all a real big family, a very diverse family with diverse points of views, but in effect, the same values. In being that family, just like there are disagreements within that family, we have disagreements within the various sects within the left. I would like to see us be more proactive in being in presenting a united front. We can disagree, but we don't have to be disagreeable with each other. Let's stick together because that's the only way we're going to move forward. Just like racism was used as a construct to divide in the country to ensure that a small amount of people maintain power, the same has been done by others on the left to try to keep us divided. Let's not play the game. Let's differ, but let's stick together and support each other.
And call it like we see it. Call it like we see it. And don't be scared to call it like you see it. Okay? Definitely. Status quo is not going to set us free. We are going to set ourselves free. Mr. Egberto Willies, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're a busy man. Thank you for being on the show. We look forward to having more conversations to keep the left galvanized. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
And that does it for another edition of A Rude Awakening. I'm Sabrina Jacobs. A big thank you to my guest, Egberto Willies. The lovely Erica Bridgman is on the controls. I'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Hard Rock Radio's up next. Have a wonderful week of resistance, community, and thank you for listening.